also, if you remember in 2021, Lee, you and I did a series of videos on WC Handy. But I was thinking, it's like, okay, if I put a video each week and then the Handy Fest is at the end of the month, okay, they've gotten all the history out, then they'll enjoy the music. And of course, I got music in there from that event too. So, you know, this is just not, this is every, you know, I don't care who you are, we're all part of this. Now this was right here, this was the, one of the replica, one of the replica boats that was down at the harbor. I just thought it was interesting. Now, does it have anything to do with our area? No, but it was in our area. So guess what? You know, and people will say like, "Hey, I should have went to that." That's what I'm trying to say. Is like when they have events like this, go to it. You know, what was it? $5 to get on it, something like that. You know, took about 30 minutes to walk through there, and you know, take advantage of those situations, because I find it better if I can go like, yep, me and my wife will always do this. We'll see this on TV and go like, we've been there, you know, if it's somewhere historic, and you know, that's fun to say, you know, that because, you know, you feel like a kinship with it, even though, you know, they don't remember you or anything like that. In January 2022, we premiered episode 92. Now, what I try to do is I try to have episodes where they premiere at 5 o'clock on Monday, and then the next one will premiere next Monday at 5 o'clock. Now, the reason I picked that time is because it's Monday, people are getting off work. You know, I'm trying to get them before prime time gets them, right? And maybe they go, oh, let's premiere, let's look at that. I don't know if it works or not, but that's what time I picked. And I wanted to give each video a little breathing room, you know, give it a little time to find its audience, and not to have the viewer get inundated with video after video after video where it's like, wait a second, where am I at here, you know? 92 by that time, and that's really great. And also during that year, I made sure that I made videos for the Black History Month. Again, I am not here just, you know, I want all the history. And one of the fun things I got to do research on was like Dr. Hicks Boulevard over in Florence. Everybody been on that, right? Who's Dr. Hicks, right? You can go read the sign, and that's great, but usually you're going by about 50 miles an hour, right? Well, I did a little research on him, and I was like, this guy, he was like the main medical guy in Alabama during the 50s.
Well, he was the first black physician in Alabama to be admitted to the state medical association and to the local medical association.
Exactly. Now, my point is that like people think they've got it hard now. You know, just imagine being in the 50s, being an African American and accomplishing. You know, that should be, we should know more about that. They should be teaching that in school. So I'm very tickled about that. I'll tell you a story. Me and Lee did a video about, it's an unsolved mystery in Florence. And it was, I think it was like episode 50 or something like that.
Right in front of Kurt's house.
Exactly. And I was telling Kurt about that, like when I was filming at his house, I was like, oh, there's a murder right out here. He's like, really? And by the way, Kurt lives in one of those houses that is a historic house. It's the Negley house, right? Soon it'll be the Negley Vetters house. You can bet on that. I'm working with you to get that done, all right? In January 2023, we were at episode 144. At this time, the ball was really rolling. You know, like I said, I had made my contacts with libraries and with historical organizations, and it's really, I mean, to me, I was just looking to put content out, and have content made, because, I'm kind of one of these people that's like, We don't know how many more tomorrows we got, so we can't put off like everything, you know. We put off enough as it is. And, you know, if my gym membership is a perfect example of that, by the way. This is over in Tuscumbia, for you sports fans. This is a little turn-of-the-century baseball. Tip of the hat to Mary Carton. She got me across the rope, if you will. You know, I just followed her around because I knew she was a big shot, and I was like, they don't know me from Adam, so I'll be close to her that way if anybody. And nobody did, but like, this was pretty fascinating just to see sports from way back when. And I think there you are, Mary, right? Now, as I've made these videos, like when I first started, when me and Kurt did the first one at his house, like we were sitting across a table on his front porch, and you know, every car that went by, you know, like you could hear it. And I knew I had to up my game. And what I've tried to do is, like there's video, like if you watch the first video I've ever made and you're going like, oh, okay, that's horrible, I could have done a better job. And you're probably right. But, you know, if I'm going to do this, I want to make it look good, and I want to make anybody who's on it look good, because I want people to be interested in this. Bought me some wireless mics. Yay. Wireless mics are great. You know, they're not so good when we have question and answers. And Dr. Mikowski, you were at this event. It was over at the at Pope's Tavern. And they were having a demonstration on blacksmithing. What's that got to do with Alabama history? Well, last time I checked, you know, they didn't have a Lowe's here in 1841 or whatever, right? So, you know, you needed a guy like this. And once I saw that, I go like, I'm never going to gripe about going to Home Depot and getting nails. Yeah. You know, he's like hammering, talk, hammering, talk, flip it over, hit hammer. And he goes like, I almost got it, and I was like, whoa, what are you talking about? You know, this was a very windy day. And luckily, the program I used for my videos had a new update on it, and it could take like all the noise out and just have the speaker, like, you know. So it's windy as all get out, but like I could cut everything off, but it would just sound like he was in a room by himself. You know, it wasn't natural, didn't hear no birds or anything. But this day, it was very windy. And he's obviously very good at it, you know. And, you know, back in the day, this guy was probably the most important guy in town, next to the doctor maybe. So anyway, I found that fascinating. And I would suggest that if you do see like the Pope's Tavern, the Indian Mound, any group having something that's something like this, then I would suggest that you definitely go check it out, because like David Havens, who runs, he doesn't run, but he's a DJ at WQLT, has a This Week in Shoals History at Thursday morning at 8:30. And I was talking to him one day, and I'm like, well, David, you know, you're doing a good job and everything, but you're telling us the price of bacon in 1972. Nothing wrong with that. You know, it's nice that it was 89 cents or whatever a pound, right? Whatever it was. But you know, it'd also help if you told us what was the minimum wage at that time, you know, or whatever. It'd kind of put it in perspective, because like we look at it at what we're making now wages compared to then. Well, I sure would like some of that 39-cent gas. Well, you know, you only made $1. Some people made only $1 an hour. So, you know, I think we got to delve into not just the price of what bacon was, but how much your parents were making to buy the bacon, to bring home the bacon, if you will. Again, that's something that I find fascinating, and yeah, I'm just a nerd. What can I say? You know, but this is Steve Alford, by the way. I remember. But I was very tickled that I was able to use. I was worried that I was just going to have to put music over it and just mute everything, you know. And I ended up getting an episode out of it and getting a lot of his information out. So I always felt pretty good about that. I've had the Muscle Shoals Archaeology group ask me to film their stuff. And Hayes Ellis, who, you know Hayes, he was like, I want you filming everything, right? And I was like, okay, well, I don't know really that. And I don't know anything. I know literally nothing about archaeology other than Indiana Jones. Nothing else. And doing all these group meetings and everything, I have learned so much. Wilson Cemetery.
Where is it?
This is at Plantation Springs. Yeah, the Wilson family, you know, famous in the Booger Saga, which
Hello, this is Jocelyn Bowen, and I'm the director at Russellville Public Library, and you're watching North Alabama Local History.
Compromised by nature and other factors.
And but you guys are, you know a lot more than I do by all means, and I'm not going to get everything, you know, and so that's why I need you guys. I need you to, like Mr. Goss over here, who doesn't want me to talk about him. You know, he told me about some history over in Sheffield, right? And even told me, you know, it's like, I'm like, I didn't know that, you know, like, and there's a lot I don't know about, and there's a lot the general public doesn't know about. But hopefully, we can plant that seed of like, hey, this is kind of interesting, you know. I didn't know that happened here. That happened here, you know. You know, I go back to the Rolling Stones being in Muscle Shoals. I never knew about that, right? I grew up during that time, right? And then I'm watching like A&E back when they actually had arts and entertainment on there, right? And they were doing like a biography or something. And, you know, they're showing like part of Gimme Shelter when they're going past the WVNA sign, you know, and I'm going like, wait a second, you know, they were here. Like when I worked for UNA as a bus driver, like I get so many kids going like, oh, there's nothing to do around here. And I'm going like, there's plenty to do. You just got to get away from the video games, right? And I'm not knocking video games, like video games, but like you got to get away from that. You got to get, like for us older folks, like myself, I got to get out of that recliner, you know, and go out and go to these places, you know, and just see them. It doesn't take all day, but it'll be an adventure. Me and my wife goes on adventures all the time. Not really earth-shattering stuff, but it's an adventure. It makes life interesting. But anyway, I do appreciate everybody's support as far as the folks that have subscribed. We are at 1,000 subscribers, which when this started, Lee, I'm like, I don't know who's going to watch this, right? You know, I mean, and he's like, no, it'll be good, you know, and, you know, think about it like this, and this is what, and I'm going to end this right now. I always looked at it like this. If I was teaching girls, or boys nowadays, how to paint their fingernails, I would have 1 million subscribers, right? But I'm doing local history, and I got 1,000, we got 1,000 now. I hate using I because it's not an I thing. We got 1,000 subscribers, and see, that to me blows my mind, you know? Because you know, I'll go to other pages and it'll be like, wow, this is really good stuff. Oh, he's only got 400. I'm like, oh, poor guy, you know. So I've been very blessed as far as like that goes. I don't plan on making a living out of this. You know, it has no health benefits or anything like that. So it's kind of like a passion project. I kind of do it on my own, pretty much financed on my own. Anybody wants to sponsor me, hey, come on down. But like I do want to keep doing it, and I am going to keep doing it, and because I'm always finding new stories and new places. In closing, I would like to thank Lee, and I'd like to thank the Tennessee Valley Historical Society. I hope I didn't bore you too much. I know I'm pretty clunky on this one because this is my first time doing this. I'm not very good at it, but I thank you for your time and attention. So Lee, back to you.
Well, thank you